This fight, I go against a huge street brawler who is 6'5", weighs 360 pounds, and is an ex-wrestler. He throws a punch, and I purposely go down to the ground to try to draw him into my guard. The position that I'm using here is a variation of the guard that I used earlier in the video, called the far guard. It's a very good defensive position whenever fighting a much larger opponent who has good skills, or anytime you find yourself on the ground with an opponent standing over top of you. It's a good defensive position because you can use your feet to block kicks and punches, and you can kick at your opponent's knees and legs. So it's a very good defensive position. You can also, if your opponent bends down low enough, kick him in the face. My strategy at this point is to frustrate my larger opponent and to get him tired. At this point, I decide to stand back up and test my opponent's striking skills. I find out that even though my opponent is large, he's fairly agile and quick. I will throw a few punches and kicks to test the waters. Again, it's very important to take your time. Even when you're on your feet, take your time and don't make a mistake. Set your opponent up. At this point, I throw a few kicks at my opponent's legs to wear him down a little bit. I throw a kick, he catches my leg, I have to spin and get back on defense. At this point, I decide to stay in the ground position and use the far guard, rather than standing up and exchanging punches and kicks with my opponent. Here I'm trying to draw him down into my guard. People are not used to seeing fights as they really are. Most people's idea of fighting comes from the movies and TV, where everything is staged and choreographed, or they're used to sport fighting, where there's lots of rules and the fighters fight within a very limited range of combat. Boxing is a good example of this. Fighting with your fist is a very small part of real fighting. It's very sad to me that many people interested in self-defense make the huge mistake and take up karate. They watch TV and they see their favorite action hero beating up all these guys using these fancy jump spinning back kicks and whatnot. What these people fail to realize is that this is all acting. It's not real. They go down to their local karate dojo and they study for years. Then all of a sudden, when they have to defend themselves for real, they find out tragically that their karate, tang soo do, and taekwondo doesn't work. It's a shame, but that's why I'm here, to try and spread the truth about real self-defense and real fighting. Now back to the fight. Here, I'm again working on my opponent's knees, using kicks. When you fight someone who's much larger than you, a large man such as this, it's a good strategy to work on his knees and his legs. Because most big men have played football or basketball or whatnot, and they've had knee injuries. Just being a big man is hard on the knees, so it's a good strategy. Again, I want to make it a long fight, because the longer the fight goes, the better it is for me. Because most real big guys are used to winning fights real quick, especially when they're going against smaller opponents. So their stamina and endurance is usually not that good. Again, I want to work on my opponent's legs and knees. And eventually, I want to pull him down into my guard. It's interesting that even a huge man like this, who's trained in wrestling, is not real anxious to jump down on the ground with me, even with a man he's almost 200 pounds heavier than. My opponent will move in, and I will go for a knee lock. I'm not quite able to get it. My opponent's still a little bit too strong. I will spin and get back on defense. He throws a couple punches at me, but I easily defend myself. I then place him in my guard. I finally have him on the ground inside my guard. This is where I've been wanting to get him the whole time. I then go for an arm lock, but I'm not quite able to get it, and I have to back off and remove his hand from my throat using my hands. At this point, I'm just taking my time and pacing myself, wearing my opponent out. It's very important for me to make my opponent use up lots of energy and strength. And I wait for the right opening to turn things around. My opponent has tried to punch me, he's tried to kick me, he's tried to choke me, he's tried to smother me with his weight, and nothing has worked. The big man is totally exhausted now, and not wanting to be caught in one of my devastating holds, he will soon give up. There's the tap out. The big man has run out of gas. Another victory for CC Corey Jiu-Jitsu. If you're serious